Hello, grade 4. So we are going to go over our Unit 1 review that we did in class today. I want you to check your answers against the answers that I'm giving you here. If you have any questions about anything, you can message me over the weekend, okay? All right, the first section, we are on page 68. The first section says, to write sentence or sentence fragment. Clara listened to my story. There's a subject and a predicate. It is a sentence. Hike through the Grand Canyon. We know what they did, we just don't know who did it, is a sentence fragment. A book about flowers. We have a subject, but we have no predicate. So again, sentence fragment. Takes pictures. We have a predicate. We know what they did, we just don't know who did it. Sentence fragment. I will always remember this trip. Subject and predicate sentence, okay? 4 types of sentences. Declarative, remember, is like a statement that tells you something or gives you information. Interrogative is a question that asks something. Imperative is a command that tells you to do something. And exclamatory is a sentence that shows great excitement. All right, number 6. My family planned a trip to the Grand Canyon. We're giving information. This is declarative. What a vacation we had. Here's our clue at the end. There's an exclamation point. Exclamatory. What did the canyon look like? Interrogative, we're asking a question. See that question mark? It was deep, wide, and colorful. Giving information, I'm telling you something. Declarative. Read my story about it. I'm telling you to read. Imperative, telling you to do something. All right, section C. It says combine each pair of sentences to make a compound sentence using and, but, or. I like to climb, comma, but my brother likes to hike. Would we find, here notice, sorry, comma, but we want to make the M lowercase for the second sentence because it's now in the middle of our sentence. Would we find a hiking trail, comma, or would we have to make our own? Comma or W lowercase for the second sentence. Our map showed the way to Treasure Cove, comma, but we took the wrong path. Okay, here we go, cove, comma, but we, lowercase, for the second sentence. The park ranger saw us, comma, and he gave us directions, comma, and lowercase h for the second sentence. I wrote down the directions, comma, and I put my hiking journal in my pocket. Here the I stays capital because we know whenever we use I alone, it is always capital. My journal fell out of my pocket, comma, but I did not notice that I had lost it, comma, but I capital because it is the letter I alone. We looked for my journal, comma, and we finally found it, comma, and lowercase w, because we is now in the middle of my compound sentence. All right, next page. At the top, there's a couple more. We could continue our hike, comma, or we could go home. We could continue our hike, comma, or we could go home. We must be lowercase. Some of us were tired, comma, but we completed the hike, comma, but lowercase w for we. The mountain view was beautiful, comma, and we were very happy. Okay, this is not a but, this is and. It was beautiful and we were happy. Okay, all right, so we have here comma and w, lowercase we. It says here, write the sentences correctly, add commas and punctuation and capital letters. It's a little blurry. Listen to my explanation and you'll be able to understand. On the first day of school, I was nervous. Capital O because it's the first word in our sentence. Period at the end after nervous. It's giving me information, telling me something, so it is declarative with a period. Would I make new friends or would I be alone? Here, capital W for the first word in the sentence. We have 2 sentences. Would I make new friends? Would I be alone? So this is a compound sentence. That means we need a comma before our conjunction or. And it is a question, so we need a question mark at the end. My classmates were friendly and funny. Okay, this is a little bit blurry here. If you're having any trouble seeing or understanding, you need to take out your textbook, Language Arts textbook, page 69, okay? My classmates were friendly and funny. Capital M for the beginning of our sentence, period at the end. It is a statement. I am telling you something. All right, tell us about yourself. Imperative sentence. Oh, sorry, this is declarative. Did I say statement? I forgot you were big fourth graders now. I can't say statement anymore. This is declarative. Number 24, tell us about yourself. Capital T for the beginning of the sentence, period at the end. Tell us about yourself is telling you to do something. Imperative. What an exciting year it will be. Jenna came up to me today and told me this year was not exciting at all. Capital W for what? Exclamation mark at the end to show excitement. All right, letter E. Write each sentence, draw one line under the complete subject and two lines under the complete predicate. Danny spent last summer with his grandparents. Danny is our subject. What did Danny do? He spent last summer with his grandparents. His grandfather told him many stories. Who are we talking about? His grandfather is our subject. What did his grandfather do? Told many stories. His older cousin visited his grandparents too. Who am I talking about? His older cousin. What did the older cousin do? Visited his grandparents too. They looked at old photographs together. Who am I talking about? They. What did they do? Looked at old photographs together. They, subject, looked at old photographs together, predicate. The whole family learned a lot last summer. Who am I talking about? The whole family. What did the whole family do? Learned a lot last summer, predicate. All right, it says draw one line under simple subject, two lines under simple predicate. Remember, when we're looking for simple subject, we're usually looking for one word. When we're looking for simple predicate, we're looking also for one word. The old rusty car needed repairs. Okay, what thing am I talking about? I'm talking about the car. That's my simple subject. What did the car? It needed. Okay, so needed is my verb. Car, simple subject, needed, simple predicate. We waited near the garage. We, simple subject, that's who I'm talking about. What did we do? We waited. A bus arrived a few minutes later. What am I talking about? A bus. What did the bus do? It arrived. Simple subject, simple predicate. We joined the tour group. We, that's who we're talking about, simple subject. What did we do? We joined. Joined, simple predicate. The guide knew a little about the city. Guide, simple subject, that's who I'm talking about. What did the guide do? He knew. Knew, simple predicate. We visited a science museum. Who am I talking about? Again, we. What did we do? We visited. I saw several monuments. My subject is I, talking about myself. And what did I do? I saw. My parents loved the large library in the city. Who am I talking about? Parents. What did the parents do? They loved. My younger sister played in the park. Simple subject is sister. What did the sister do? Played. She found a fountain for cooling off. Who am I talking about? She. What did she do? She found. All right, next page. We're on page 70 now. Compound subjects. Remember, compound means that something is made up of parts. So if we have a compound subject, it means we have more than one subject. All right, we're using and to make our compound subject. Remember, I told you, look at the sentence, find what is alike. We will use it once. Then we will use and to combine the parts that are different. The captain and the sailor describe the voyage. Okay, the captain and the sailor, different. We'll combine with and, describe the voyage the same. We will use it once. The captain and the sailor describe the voyage. Again, what's alike and what's different? The photographs of the trip were interesting. The maps of the trip were interesting. The photographs and the maps of the trip were interesting. Annette used many questions. Oh, sorry. Annette asked many questions. Stephen also asked many questions. Ask many questions is the same. Annette and Stephen asked many questions. Eric wanted to learn how to sail. Nina wanted to learn how to sail too. Okay, again, wanted to learn how to sail is the same. We will use it once, combine what is different using and. Eric and Nina wanted to learn how to sail. The students asked for a tour of the ship. The teachers also ask for a tour of the ship. Again, look for what is the same. Ask for a tour of the ship is the same. We will use it once. Use and to combine the parts that are different. The students and the teachers ask for a tour of the ship. Compound predicates. The same way we do the subjects, we're going to do the predicates. We're going to look to see what is alike and see what is different. Susan saw the high cliffs. Susan shouted excitedly. Susan is the same subject. Susan saw the high cliffs and shouted excitedly. We use and to combine the parts that are. The wind blew constantly. It whistled in our ears. The wind blew constantly. It whistled in our ears. The wind blew constantly. It whistled in our ears. It is talking about the wind. So the wind blew constantly and whistled in our ears. Our dog ran ahead. Our dog caught up with Susan. Our dog, same subject, our dog ran ahead and caught up with Susan. Some hikers left the trail. They took pictures. They means the hikers. Some hikers left the trail and took pictures. We noticed another trail. We opened our map. We noticed another trail and opened our map. We, same subject. All right, correcting run-ons. Now we can correct run-ons in two different ways. We can write them as two different sentences, separate, or what does it say? Write as two sentences, and make a compound. Okay, so we can write as two separate sentences or we can make a compound. Let's look at the first one. The photograph showed our house. That's our first sentence. It was painted white. That's our second sentence. We can separate them and make them two separate sentences, or we can use comma and to combine. Let's look at the two separate first. The photograph showed our house, period. It, capital I, was painted white. Or we can say the photograph showed our house, comma, and it was painted white. A road was near the house. It was really a path. First sentence, a road was near the house. Second sentence, it was really a path. We can separate. A road was near the house, period, capital I, it was really a path. Second sentence. Or we can make a compound sentence. A road was near the house, comma, and it was, but a road was near the house, comma, but it was really a path. The path was covered with stones. How bumpy it was. The path was covered with stones, first sentence. How bumpy it was, second sentence. We can separate into two sentences. The path was covered with stones, period. How bumpy it was, capital H for how, two separate sentences, or we can combine and make a compound sentence. The path was covered with stones, comma, and how bumpy it was. We took the photograph to the library, period. We spoke with the librarian, separating into two sentences, capital W for our second sentence. Or we can combine and make a compound sentence. We took the photograph to the library, comma, and we spoke with the librarian. Last one, she promised to find more information. First sentence, isn't history interesting? Second sentence, she promised to find more information, period. Isn't, capital I, history interesting? Writing as two separate sentences. Or we can write, actually, I think we can only write this one as one. It says we can use either, but I don't know how to write it as a compound. Do you? She promised to find more information, comma, and isn't history interesting? Doesn't sound right. She promised to find more information, comma, but isn't history interesting? Doesn't work. She promised to find more information, or isn't history interesting? So our last sentence, these two, can only be written as two separate sentences. She promised to find more information, period. Isn't history interesting? I think that's because we have here, our first sentence is a declarative sentence. Our second sentence is a question. These two do not mix together. All right, let's look at page 71. The last thing, vocabulary, our time order words that we've been using. Let's look at the sentences first and pick out those time order words. Finally, I reached the other side. Finally, one morning, I decided to swim across the lake. One morning, when I got tired, I did the backstroke or floated. Then I did a brisk crawl to warm up. Then first I waded slowly into the cold water first, okay? All right, so let's look. We have to tell our reader what we're going to talk about first. So one morning I decided to swim across the lake would be first. Then, let's see, first I waded slowly into the cold water. Then I did a brisk crawl to warm up. I would warm up before I got tired, right? When I got tired, I did the backstroke or just floated. Finally, I reached the other side. So again, one morning I decided to swim across the lake. First, I waded slowly into the cold water. Then I did a brisk crawl to warm up. When I got tired, I did the backstroke or just floated. Finally, I reached the other side. Okay, so that's our order. Hope these exercises will help you to review for your exam. See you on Sunday. Study, study, study. Bye-bye.